You got Darth Maul, #1, Age of Republic Darth Maul, you see there. I love this. I guess we're calling it a maxi series. It's like 30 to 40 comics, and they're all single shots. Pretty dope. You see it there on the left side of your screen. You're looking at Han Solo, Imperial Cadet #2, and over there on the right, Dr. Aphra 27. Let's dive in. Age of Republic Darth Maul, #1. Let's just go right into it. Oh my gosh. This is like an epilogue to that Maul miniseries we got earlier in the year. And it takes place an undesignated amount of time later. He's down in the streets of Coruscant working with rogues and scoundrels and bounty hunters trying to collect a payment of some sort. And what I love about this is not only does it tie a bow on that miniseries, this also further gives some background to Maul and some legitimacy to what we know about in Solo, because he is apparently at the helm of this underworld. In Solo. And so here you are, you're seeing him build a network, and you're hearing and reading about him talking about building up this network. He's
how Palpatine does it on the surface and he does it down below.
And how that's going to connect down the road, years down the road. I love that. You read this comic. What was some of your initial thoughts? Of course, we get a vision later on, but just let's not talk about that. Yeah.
Let's start with the artwork.
Let's start with the artwork.
I love how gritty it is. It feels dingy. It feels dirty. It feels like the underworld. Next, let's talk about his relationship with Palpatine. Last week, we talked about the tender moments that Qui-Gon had with Master Yoda.
Yeah.
I feel like Darth Maul gets his tender moment with Emperor Palpatine.
Are they tender?
No.
Little TLC with Sidious?
But I love that. This makes me want to see more Palpatine in comics, in more Star Wars media, because he's ruthless. He is just phenomenal every time I see him.
We get to go to
Malachor. Wait, is that the place where
Star Wars Rebels,
where Kanan gets blinded?
Yep, he gets blinded. Ahsoka's there. That's where she gets pulled out by Ezra in season 4. All that stuff that happens right there in Malachor. So did that work for you? Did you like how that tied back in?
It really did work for me, and I recognized the big temple that they had, and then I saw Malachor, and I wanted to make sure that's what it was. But I loved it because he gets his training moment like Qui-Gon got his. I can see a lot of parallels between the two comics, and his Force vision is phenomenal, simply because you get to see him as a Jedi,
right,
with a double-sided blue lightsaber, which is cool.
And that's the thing, is like right now you're looking at images on your screen where you're seeing him going through the streets again of Coruscant, and you're seeing him where he has so many different appearances that I guess you just think of Darth Maul in those black robes. It's cool to see him as an undercover agent in the streets, but then you get to this Force vision, which we'll show you here in a second. He's in Jedi robes. Double-sided blue lightsaber. How dope would it be to see that in Episode 9?
I love that.
It looks so great. And this idea that he is having to deal with this inner conflict, and this vision is trying to show him as good, but he's like, no, I'm making the decision. I'm resisting.
And he saves them. Then he kills them.
And then he just slaughters these people. It's pretty vicious. I don't want to, as always, I don't show every panel on the show because I want you to have a reason to go to your local comic book shop and buy the comic yourself. But I was really, really happy with that series. And, you mentioned about, you're looking at Malachor right now, the sins of the Jedi, killing out all those Sith warriors in the past. Pretty cool just to see Maul, Palpatine together. We got some Palpatine in the Vader comic series. Cool to get some time with him here in this one. Just an absolute treat. Jody Houser does a great job. She wrote this comic. She also wrote last week's Qui-Gon Jinn #1.
Okay.
So
you can see the parallels, so it makes sense.
But just like just how well it's written. I know. I read it straight. Like no interruptions. It was hard. I could not deviate from it. So kudos to her for her great work on that series. A lot of fun to read, and excited to see what else she does with these Age of Republic, Rebellion, Resistance comics. Let us know what you think down in the comments below about Darth Maul #1. Do you like it? Does this make you wish you got more Jody Houser Darth Maul? Let us know in the comments below or in the live chat. We'll jump over now to Dr. Aphra 27. Really good humor. It's a funny issue.
So neither one of us are necessarily overly bought into Dr. Aphra and the comics that she has.
Right. I try and stay up to date because of the show, but I don't go deep into the character like a lot of folks.
And
have.
there are a lot of times for the show where I just kind of skim through it, pick out a couple things, look at the artwork, and say, okay, there's Dr. Aphra. This Worst Among Equals storyline has been phenomenal.
It's been
It
a
has
lot
been
of fun.
it's been fun. It's got great art. I love the story, and I love the murderous droid 000.
It's fun to see how these characters have evolved, and something that we've talked about Aphra too is she is her own woman. She brings she represents a lot of folks that maybe didn't feel like they had representation in the Star Wars galaxy before that. It's supposed to be so diverse, and what I enjoy about this is how it's transitioned from her just working with Vader, running away from Vader, doing her own thing. She is now like considered a legitimate threat by the rebellion. I mean, Leia orders a hit on Aphra by the end of this issue, and it's interesting to see that Aphra is that big of a character now in Star Wars that she is on the radar of the rebellion. That's to me huge. As a threat. That's huge to me because before I viewed Aphra in the original Gillen Star Wars Darth Vader run, sidekick, just kind of like, to me, she kind of got in the way of the story. Here in this run, though, a little, stronger writing. The arcs, this arc is doing it for us. It hasn't been that way for every issue so far this new run, but really exciting to see how this character has developed, how the character has grown. You pissed off Leia enough to get a hit on you. You're doing something right, depending on your point of view.
I mean, to me, the star of the comic is 000.
Yeah.
There's one panel I'm looking at here where he's staring at himself in a mirror, and he says, "I believe I shall start by softly inserting electrodes into your eyeballs. It seems only fair." And then Aphra stops and says, "Seriously, 10 hours till we explode and you're threatening mirrors?" So he is so psychotic and murderous that he's threatening to kill himself while looking in a mirror.
And I think
I love that.
The humor, especially with 000, helps with pacing a lot, just because the Aphra series is heavier on the actual reading. You're doing a lot of reading in the Aphra series, and so whenever you get to the point, I feel like when I'm like, oh, okay, I need something to happen, it's like we get a little joke, we get a bit of action, okay, we're right back in it. So love Dr. Aphra 27. Let us know what you think in the comments below, because we'd love to know if you're on this series. We're trying to convince you to read it, because maybe you're on the fence like Jesse is especially on the fence with it. But we want to make sure that we're having conversation here where you're getting up to speed on what's happening in those comics, but also we're piquing your interest. We want you to dive into those bins, get some back issues from your LCS. Han Solo Imperial Cadet #2 is our last comic of this past week. And to me, I think this was a good rebound from issue 1 for a lot of folks. I liked the first issue of Imperial Cadet because it's giving us a chance to see Han Solo in the Imperial Navy Academy, which we got none of in Solo, A Star Wars Story, which kind of surprised we didn't get any of him flying TIE fighters in that movie. We were supposed to. The scene was deleted. I think you should have left it in. Issue #2. Okay, I'm rolling with it. I'm happy to see Han in the fighters, dealing with fire. He's getting in trouble with other characters in the academy. And so you're kind of getting that, the wise guy slapstick entertainment you're accustomed to getting with Han Solo. There is controversy that it feels like it's too long of content, like it's long-winded. The writing is like too long-winded.
I don't think his face looks like Alden Ehrenreich or Harrison Ford.
Well, they try to go younger with it, but yeah, I mean, just looking at the cover that we showed you earlier,
The cover looks like him.
cover
but
looks great.
None of the interior.
But a lot of people are mad that they're using Alden Ehrenreich's likeness. And I'm like, why are you frustrated? He's the young Han Solo. Like, just be
okay
cool
with
with it. Like the cover looks phenomenal. I don't think that's Phil Noto. Who did the art on that?
On the cover?
Yeah. We're looking it up right now. I think it's just the artist. Who's the general artist on Leonard somebody?
Leonard Kirk?
Yeah, there we go. Leonard Kirk did the cover on there, and there's a colorist and there's a pencilist and all that. But and Robbie Thompson writes it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, I would go check it out. I think it's a little bit stronger than the first. I personally like both of them, but anything to give me a further insight into Solo in that Imperial Academy. Art doesn't bother me. I dig the art. The likeness to Alden does not bother me. I think it's appropriate. If you're going to go ahead and cast Alden as young Han, that's going to be what young Han looks like. You didn't get McGruber or whatever that kid's name is. the Harrison Ford impersonator. You got Alden Ehrenreich. So that's what we're gonna get. And if you like Solo, then pick this thing up. I think it's gonna be a 5-issue miniseries run.
Jesse's joined us in the live chat.
Oh, wonderful! What do we got?
And he says that he's definitely on the fence, not interested in it. So I just asked him if he was talking about Dr. Aphra or the Han Solo. He says Dr. Aphra, not interested, and he agrees with me. He doesn't like the faces.
Okay, and that's totally valid. I think with some of the art, it has been hit and miss. But I think in 2018, the story has been a reinvention of art stylings in Star Wars comics, because I think there's been a dramatic improvement with Star Wars. Like the main line, Salvador LaRocca say it every time. He's a great artist, just did not enjoy what he was doing with the likeness of the characters, with the faces in comics. And I think if you look at what you're getting with Aphra, what you're getting with Solo, what you're getting in the Maul, I think the art overall is a higher level. Like, it's more detailed. And that's something that we weren't enjoying or we weren't experiencing at the beginning of the year. So I think that this is a sign that Marvel, Star Wars, listening to the fans, trying to give them what they want, especially in that main story, Star Wars line, art is significantly better. But you know what? Give Aphra a chance, man. That's what I would say is get that first trade. Maybe that's what we do for a giveaway. We just hit 700 subscribers on YouTube, so I feel like we need to do a contest giveaway. And
that'd be cool.
Make a fun competition. Maybe we're giving away Aphra, so that way that Jesse can dive into that series. If you're on the fence about any of these, or you're deep into any of these comics, let us know. Comments below.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.